everybody to BBTV. I'm your host, Jeff White. And in today's episode, I wanted to talk to you guys about mattress and box spring encasements. This is a very important topic in regards to bed bugs because I think this is one of the very important tools that can be used if you either think you might have a bed bug infestation or if you want to be proactive and protect your bedding and make future inspections of that bedding much easier. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this little demo example I have here to talk about the purpose of encasements and why encasements are something you might want to consider. And then I'll talk briefly about some of the encasements that are out there and just give you an idea in regards to what to look for if you are thinking about buying encasements for your home. Alrighty, so what I have here is a very small example of an encasement. And when we talk about encasements, we're talking about a product that completely encases the mattress or box spring inside of it. And the reason why I mention this is because a lot of people get confused when we start talking about encasements. They think we're talking about covers. And covers are not necessarily where you want to go when it comes to encasements. Because the concept behind these is that you're going to lock bugs into the inside of these encasements. Now people say, so I'm going to have live bugs climbing around inside the encasement on my mattress or box spring. Potentially you might, but they are hopefully specially designed to do that. And the reason why this was made is because if anybody's ever looked at a box spring, you know box springs are very complex designs. There's lots of wood, there's lots of fabric inside of them, and those can be extremely difficult to treat. There's like 1,000 places for bed bugs to hide in there. You can take one of these encasements, encase the box spring inside of this, and then zipper it closed, and as long as that encasement remains closed and doesn't tear, those bugs will eventually die inside of it. And so it's a much easier way to address those areas. The one thing you need to be sure of is, as I said, it can't tear or be taken off. People like to ask me how long the encasement should stay on the mattress or box spring, and the answer is a minimum of a year, and perhaps as long as you possibly can. And that's because, remember, bed bugs can survive up to a year and potentially more without a blood meal. And so if you lock bugs in, you want to keep that in place for a year, if not more, to hopefully allow for any bugs that are inside there to die. And so that's one of the big concepts behind encasements. It takes these complex environments, you in 5 to 10 minutes encase a mattress or a box spring inside these encasements, and as long as it doesn't become torn or taken off, whatever was in there hopefully should not be able to get back out. And so that's one of the ideas behind it. The other major concept behind these is they drastically ease future inspections. So say you're a business traveler, you don't necessarily have bugs, but you do periodic inspections of your bed because you never know when or if you're going to bring bed bugs home with you. This makes it much easier, and it protects your bedding. And so you come home, you do your inspections whenever you do them, much easier to inspect. And as I said, it protects bedding. And the last thing is, if you do have a bed bug infestation, this is a much cheaper option than throwing your bedding out. We do not typically recommend to throw bedding out. But some people, when they have bed bugs, say, I don't want bed bugs in my house, but I can't afford to do this. Encasements are a cheaper option than having to replace the bedding. And so to review the ideas and the concepts behind this is A, remember, lock bugs in. Make these ultra-complex environments much simpler to treat. B, you want to limit the bed bugs to the outside of this because it's a much easier surface to inspect if you, say, are a frequent business traveler or you think you might bring bed bugs home at some point. It also protects bedding and basically salvages that bedding as well. And so those are the concepts that, go behind encasements. They ease treatment and they make future inspections easier. They're a very good proactive measure. Now, before I get to the individual encasements that are out there and talk about a few examples, the one thing I can say is that if you're going to encase your box spring, which many experts will say is much more important than the mattress, because if bed bugs are found inside a home, a lot of times more bugs, not all, but more bugs are found in the box spring. A box spring is often considered an area of first infestation. If you are going to encase the box spring, be careful if you have metal or any type of hard surfaced bed frame. Those bed frames are like razors to these encasements. And remember, if these encasements become torn, the bugs could potentially escape. And so some of these encasements provide sticky-sided felt with it. And what you do is you use that felt to pad that bed frame that might potentially tear these encasements. You can also go to local fabric stores and find felt that sticks to surfaces, and you want to pad those sharp edges with that felt, and that will protect these encasements. So it's just a quick point that you do want to be aware of if you're going to encase your box spring. Okay, so we've talked about the concepts behind mattress and box spring encasements. What's out there? And the answer to that is a whole lot. Since these mattress and box spring encasements came onto the market about 4 years ago, there are a ton of different options out there at this point. And so it can be a little confusing when you're looking for an encasement to use in your home. The one thing you definitely want to look for is you want to look to see if it's good for use with bed bugs. And when it comes to that, you want to make sure that whatever the encasement you're going to potentially purchase is, it has research that backs its claims, that it's good for locking bugs in. And when the research, talks about what it did, you want to make sure the bugs can't get through the zipper, because we've actually seen zippers so large that even when they're closed, the bugs can get through those teeth. You also want to make sure that when the zipper is completely closed, which is what we call the zipper end stop, that they're doing something to address that bugs can't get out of that end stop. That is one of the most common areas of escape for bed bugs, because if that zipper isn't even closed a tooth on some encasements, bugs could potentially escape. And so you want to make sure they're addressing that somehow. You also want to make sure that the encasement has research that shows that the bugs can't get in and infest the bedding in the future. Because remember, one use for this is to protect your bedding. And so the bottom line is if you're going to choose an encasement, make sure they have research to back their claims. We've seen companies say they're good for bed bugs, they don't have research, and then we've found that bugs can easily escape from it, no problem. And so research is very important. Now, in terms of encasements that are out there, as I said, there are a ton out there. My choice is that I definitely would want to go with an encasement and not a cover. There are covers out there now that are infused with pesticides such as permethrin. I'm not a big fan of those. I'm not going to sit here and badmouth them. I don't necessarily think they're a poor option. I want something that's going to lock the bugs in and keep the bugs out. I have some concerns about the pesticide-infused covers. It's something that if it's a personal choice and you want to go with that option, that's perfectly fine. Just be aware that they're covers and the bugs could potentially get under them, and they don't necessarily have to sit on those covers. And so you want to make sure it's an encasement and the research. Now, in terms of actual encasements that are out there, the two that we typically talk about, and I think a lot of the industry in terms of the pest control industry are currently using, are the two that I have here, which are Protect-A-Bed's line of encasements. Many experts believe that this is one of the best encasements, if not the best encasement on the market. They have a huge line of encasements. You can obviously go check out their encasements online. There's a lot of different benefits to using this encasement. The bottom line is it's a very solid encasement. It's got a lot of different, pros that address the zipper end stop, and they've got a lot of research that backs their claims. And I know a lot of pest control industries are using this in their bed bug service. This is a very, very good encasement. This is one of the best out there. So Protect-A-Bed's line is one of the most popular encasements. And then the other encasement I have here is an encasement manufactured by a company called Mattress. This is another company that I know a lot of pest control companies are using. Also a very good encasement. Very popular on the market, has a lot of good pros to it as well. And these are really, in my opinion, the two leading encasements on the market, and at least the two that are talked about the most. Now, obviously, I'm not here to promote these encasements. That's not what this show is about. I'm not here to sell you products. But I do want to present you with some options in regards to the most popular that are out there, and to let you know there are a ton others out there. So do your research. Go out and look on the web. See what's out there. See what they have. See what they offer. Do some research. And believe it or not, there's a lot out there. So you may need to take some time with this, but make the decision that's right for you. Alrighty, everybody, so that's encasements. Pretty complicated topic, but an important topic, because I think this is a great tool for use with bed bugs, whether it's to deal with an infestation or help deal with an infestation, or to protect your bedding proactively. Alrighty, you have any questions? Jeff.white@bedbugcentral.com, and I hope to see everybody soon enough.